Hello and welcome to Mr. Thompson's Math Tutorials. Today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting integers. So just a quick reminder of what integers are. Integers are positive, like these numbers right here, and negative numbers. Okay, so those are our integers right there. They're different from, say, counting numbers or just regular numbers in that they have negatives. Okay, so let's look at adding and subtracting some integers. So these are integers, whether you think they are or not, they're actually integers. So I have 5 minus 3. Now, one thing to understand is this is understood to be a positive 5. There's a ghost positive right here. So this is a positive 5 and a negative 5. And I think of this in two ways. First way I think of this is that this 5, this positive 5, is quite literally made up of 5 positive 1s. 5 positive 1s. And this is made of 3 negative 1s. Now, if I have 1 minus 1, this equals 0, or positive 1 minus 1 is 0, right? That means that these two right here cancel each other out and become 0, or quite literally nothing. These two cancel each other out and become 0, quite literally nothing. These two cancel out and become 0, which is nothing. And what do I have left? Well, I've got 1 plus 1, which is 2. Now, this is pretty obvious and something that you learned a long time ago. But let's look at how it works with the number line also. So one of the things that I can think about with a number line is directionality. So I'm starting here at 5, and this negative 3 tells me that I'm going to go to the left 3 times. So I would go 1, 2, 3 to the left, and I would end up here at 2. And that's another way to sort of think about what's going on here. This negative sign means move that way to the left. If it's a positive sign, so negatives are left, positives are to the right. So let's look at another example. You can see here I've got this again, but if I decide to switch these two things around, this is completely and totally legal. And in fact, this is called the associative property. Associative property. And it basically states that, something like this, that 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, but also 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. So as long as I'm moving my integers around and I'm keeping their signs with them, this is a very key thing. This is a positive 5, not just a 5, and this is a negative 3, not just a 3. So please do not confuse them. And I can move these two around as long as I move them with their sign. Now, let's look at this in the same ways as we were looking at it before. I have 3 negatives, 1, 2, 3, and I have 5 positives. Get rid of this. There we go. Okay, I have 5 positives, 5 positive 1s. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And once again, you can see that these negatives, this negative and this positive, are going to become 0. So they become 0. This is going to be 0. And this is going to be 0. And what I end up with is 2 positives. This is why this is positive 2. Now, let's look down here. If I look at the directionality idea here on the number line, I'm starting at negative 3, and I'm adding 5. That means, remember that the positive was moved right on the number line, and the negative was moved left on the number line. So I have a positive 5. That means I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I end up at 2 here again. Okay? So you can see that this works, in either case. And really, they're the same problem because of the associative property. Okay, let's look at something else. And we'll look at it again in both ways, where I'm going to look at it as number line and as how many negatives. So first things first, I have 1 negative here and 2 negatives, 3 and 4 negatives. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 negatives also. Now, the first thing I should notice is I don't have any positives. That means nothing cancels out here. This is -1 minus 1. It is not positive. You're not taking away this negative from this. In fact, weirdly, there's a ghost addition right here. You're adding a negative. So this is actually equal to -2. And this would be equal to -2. And this would be equal to -2. And this is equal to -2. And this one is still just -1. And if I add all these together, I end up with -9. Okay, because there's no positives. There's nothing to cancel out to give me a 0. Now, if I think of this as directionality on my number line, I'm starting at -4, and I'm moving to the left because I'm subtracting 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which gives me my -9 also. Okay, when you subtract from a negative number, in other words, if you're doing -4 minus 5, you will end up with a more negative number, not a less negative number. It's not bigger because actually -9 is smaller than -4, but you have to consider that this is a more negative number. It has become more negative by subtracting. So just be careful in your thinking on that. Okay, let's look at another example. Now, in this case, what I'm doing is I am looking at subtracting negatives from a negative number. So I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives right here. And what I'm doing is taking away, this means take away, right? Take away 5 of those. So really, I'm doing this. I'm erasing them. There's 1 gone, 2, 3, 4, 5, which leaves me with 1 negative. And that's equal to -1. Now, it's a little more hard to grasp on the whole directionality thing, but let's just have a go at it. I'm starting at -6, and I'm taking away negatives. So if I take away negatives, now, I'm taking away, so I should be moving this way, but I'm taking away negatives, not positives, so that reverses the sign. So take away negatives, you move to the right. It is really a positive. And I kind of always was taught this, that you kind of take this and join them together, it becomes a positive sign. So I'm going to be moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the right. Okay, a double negative is a positive. It's sort of like me saying, do not speak. Do not speak. To not speak would mean you're being quiet, but I'm telling you to do not, which means I don't want you to be quiet. So these are called double negatives. Let's look at another example of this. Okay, here's another double negative. I'm taking away, I have 3, and I'm taking away 5 negatives from this. Now, one of the problems is I run out of negatives to take away. I can take out this one, and I can take out this one, and I can take out this one, but then I run out of negatives. Now, taking away negatives is the same as adding positives. So really, this becomes a positive, and I end up with 2. Let's try to look at this directionality-wise. I'm taking away negatives. That's going to move move me on the number line to the right, taking away negatives, right? Because if I have -3 minus 1, sorry, minus 1, okay? If I have -3 minus 1, I'm taking away a negative. That's going to leave me with -2. Well, the same process happens here. I'm taking away negatives. So I take away the 3 negatives that I have, but because I'm moving this way on the number line, I just keep going. And that gets me to this 2 right here. Okay, let's look at another example. Now, in this case, I'm adding negatives. So that means I'm going to have 4 negatives, right? So here's my -1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm adding 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, you have to pay attention when you have these 2 signs in the middle. If they're the same, then you're going to get a positive. If they're different, this becomes a negative. Okay, directionality on the number line, I'm adding negatives. So that means I'm going to be going to my left. and I end up with -9. Okay, let's look at one more example. Now, imagine that I'm here on the number line at 3, so I have 3 positives, but I'm also adding, well, I'm taking away negatives, which is the same as adding positives, right? So that adds 3, adds 5 ones, and that gives me 8 here. Okay, and again, I'm taking away negatives, and because when you take away negatives, you move this way on the number line, I would be adding 5 to this and end up at 8. All right, thank you for watching.